and welcome to Rapyd Talks. I'm Aitor Gomez, and we're here in Rapyd's office in Singapore to host one of our last sessions this week in our program around Singapore FinTech Festival. Let me introduce our guest today, Sarah Johansson from Collectius Group. Sarah is the Chief Strategy and Project Officer of Collectius, headquartered here in Singapore. And she basically leads regional strategy and the project team that is responsible to deliver the company's strategic products and projects. Sarah is an experienced management consultant and specialized in business transformation. And she joined Collectius in 2019 as the group head of operational excellence before taking her current role at the beginning of last year in 2020. So Sarah, welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
How was the week of Singapore FinTech Festival so far?
It's been really good. It's the first time I'm joining this fully digital event, but it's been really good. We Collectius have a digital booth as well. So it's been a good week of networking and finding potential clients as well as vendors. So really good.
Great. Any favorite sessions?
I think I can mention a couple. One that I joined that I liked was the one by MAS regarding the future of finance, internet and money, I think it was internet, money and finance. And also one by Google about developing responsible AI, which I think was really interesting as well. It was the Fireside chat with Google.
Great. Yeah, I think the content this year, I think, has been even better. I think every year it gets better, and I think we're all looking forward to a full physical event maybe next year if the conditions allow.
Yeah.
Great. So let's get started. And maybe for those in the audience that may not be very familiar with Collectius, maybe you could start with a quick introduction of what do you do and how is Collectius different from other players in the industry?
Yes. So Collectius is a debt management company and a restructuring partner to banks and financial clients here in Southeast Asia. So we operate now in 6 countries, here in Singapore, also in Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, and now most recently also in India. And in total, we have about 4.8 million customers now across these markets. And our business is to purchase consumer loans and recovering them, supporting our customers to become debt-free using what we call the Collectius way of collections. And it's not only on debt purchasing, I should say also, because we're also servicing banks and other fintech companies on an outsourcing basis for the same purpose as well. And how we are different, debt collection here in Southeast Asia used to be a very much pen and paper driven business with manual processes, not so much systems in place at all. So that's why also our founders, they saw a gap in the market here and an opportunity to change and transform the industry by leveraging empathy and technology in order to change the debt recovery process. And I think the key of what we do is to leverage compassion and technology and support our customers through open dialogue, supporting them to find a good way to become debt-free again, back on track through flexible payment arrangements, etc. And we have a digital-first approach, which means that we can have a hybrid approach to how we run the business, both combined with the human perspective in our call centers, plus the digital platform. It's not only that we are a trusted partner to our customers, we're also a trusted partner to our clients, banks, and companies when it comes to strengthening the liquidity as well. I also want to mention that we, since last year, have a partnership with IFC, which is a member of the World Bank. IFC is also a minority shareholder in Collectius. And I think this is the difference when it comes to so what we do together with them is that we launched a investment platform, a $60 million investment platform here in the region, which is only dedicated to acquiring and resolving consumer debt, unsecured debt here in the Southeast Asian countries.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that the industry was pretty much like a pen and paper, right, and highly manual. Yeah. So how do you think the industry, like such a traditional industry, you would say, has adapted to changes in consumer behavior in general, right? Particularly when it comes to like technology adoption or even payment preferences.
Mm-hmm. I think many markets, especially these that we operate in, we already saw a change in customer behavior long before the pandemic. The pandemic has just helped to accelerate the shift in customer behavior, and this will just continue. So as an example, there was a study recently showing that 75% of the population here in Southeast Asia now has access to the internet. And a majority of these people shopped online at least once this year. And I think it was as many as 40 million people here in Southeast Asia that actually came online for the first time this year, which I think is really showing a change of behavior, which is already happening, and it will continue to happen as well, of course. So for us, Collectius, key is to meet our customers where the customer wants to be met. And even since the start, we have seen that our customers are very responsive to the digital approach. Although there's a mix, of course, we also do have customers that prefer the more traditional way of financial services, where you talk to a mediator over the call center to find a solution that works for you. But we also see that it's a shift towards the digital approach more and more, and also a demand for digital payments. So to meet that demand from our customers, we recently launched our integration to Rapyd here in Singapore, as well as in Thailand, for our customers to access your digital payment network through our customer portal to make payments online. And that is something we have been working on in the past years, also partnering up with other providers in other markets that we operated in as well. So it's increasing.
Mm. Yeah, it's interesting. We've seen something similar as well, right? And some of the studies that we've published in terms, you mentioned digital financial services adoption, and when it comes to payments, that's also something that we've seen, right? I mean, how particularly here in the region, in Asia and Southeast Asia in particular, we've seen increased adoption of payment methods that we could call alternative payment methods, right? As we call in the industry, like e-wallets or real-time payment methods that have been basically growing very, very fast over the last year or two. So what do you think that the role of fintech is in all this transformation, or how do you think fintech can help the industry and all these consumers?
Fintech plays a really important role in this transformation, for sure. I mean, many fintechs are started just because there was a gap in the market and a need for, new requirements for customers. And many fintechs were founded only to bridge that gap that were there. And also taking in that fintechs are flexible and fast moving and can easily adapt to new requirements out there as well, and fill in the gaps in the markets. So definitely fintechs play a key role in this transition. And also Collectius in this context, being a fintech company in our industry, I mean, that is exactly what we saw and reacted to as well. We saw a gap. There is a need for a digital approach to debt collection in this region, which is why we started what we do as well.
Mm. And we've talked about the industry and how the industry has transformed, right? And the role that Collectius plays there, and the role that fintech could play as well. How about Collectius as well in particular? I mean, in terms of the digital transformation journey that you've been going through, any particular initiatives around digital transformation that you've carried out, and have you seen any benefit or any positive impact as a result?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So, I mean, Collectius is first and foremost a fintech company. We started off the company having a digital approach and leveraging technology to the debt recovery process. And we're constantly focusing on how we can improve and enhance our technology going forward as well. So as an example, when we started, we had a tech platform as well, a debt collection platform, which we now have improved. We are now operating a fully cloud-based digital platform with API integrations to various third-party services like Rapyd for payments as an example. We also have our customer portal for self-service, integrations to our omni-channel, which enables customers to contact Collectius in any channel as they prefer. Also automation of processes, which has benefited a lot, of course. And also, more important, the access to data and the way we now leverage data using advanced analytics, which of course creates a better experience, a more seamless experience for customers, as well as supporting us in the internal decision making as well in Collectius.
I'm sure, I mean, all those initiatives have had a positive impact, right? And maybe differentiating the way that Collectius approaches, right, debt management. But I'm pretty sure that not everything has been smooth, right? So I'm sure there will be some challenges as well, right? Operating in a very traditional industry, right? As we were mentioning earlier. So are you comfortable sharing maybe some of those challenges that you've been going through?
Challenges for the industry in general, you mean?
For the industry and also for Collectius as well, right? I mean, as you approach some of this digital transformation in a highly manual and traditional industry.
Yeah. Challenges, I would say it's learnings. I mean, it's trial and error. We have tried something that didn't work and we tried something else. I mean, it's trial and error all the time. I wouldn't call that challenges. I think that's a way of learning and also building something great in the end. When it comes to industry challenges, I think Collectius here in Southeast Asia, we have sort of created the headway to change the debt collection industry, but there are still challenges also. One example could be that many of our customers, they are in the trap of debt because there is a lack of financial literacy. There is a lack of understanding what it actually means to take on a loan and what it means if you don't pay it through like accumulating interest, etc. Which is also one of the key things that we are committed to is to increase the financial literacy among customers. Other challenges, there is still unethical practices going on out there when it comes to debt recovery, which is not really helping customers. It's more putting them back to an even worse position, I think, from where they started. Another thing could be what we've seen recently, illegal fintech platforms popping up here and there, especially on P2P lending, which is also, I mean, putting customers in a bad situation of debt with very high interest rates. So Collectius, we welcome the recent move in Indonesia, if you've seen that, by the government to close down many of these illegal P2P lenders. So these are some challenges. But also looking at these, we can turn them into opportunities for how we can support customers that actually got there to support them to get back on track.
Yeah, glad to hear that you're addressing some of those important challenges as well. So maybe just to come towards the end of the session and perhaps trying to look a little bit at the future, right? Or maybe at least near future. What's next for Collectius over the next few months or years?
So as we continue to grow, I've already mentioned that we recently announced our integration to Rapyd in our payment network here in Singapore as well as in Thailand. And we will continue to focus on our tech investments going forward as well to stay relevant in the digital space, of course. So there are more announcements to come in this area. On the debt purchasing side, we have a few announcements coming up now in the coming month, and it's here in Singapore, it's in Malaysia, Indonesia, as well as India, and a combination of traditional FIs. There is one Southeast Asian super app, and there's a leading BNPL player as well. So it's exciting times ahead, and we will continue to deliver services where we operate, but also increase the footprint in general here in the region.
Great. I mean, some of those definitely look exciting, and looking forward to hearing more about that. So maybe one last question before we wrap up. The same, but in terms of the industry, right? I mean, how do you see the industry evolving over the next few months or years, and how is Collectius planning to support that evolution or that journey?
So I think if we are to stay responsive to our customers' need, we need to continue to embrace this hybrid approach to debt recovery, meaning we focus both on the human perspective as well as the digital approach. And I think digital payments, for sure, will continue to play a key role. And we need to stay responsive to changing customer needs here as well, and make sure we follow this over time. And I think other trends going forward. So we see an increase when it comes to selling off debt from banks. There's also an increase in outsourcing in general to debt collection agencies, third parties. We also see a consolidation of the industry, which is already happening as well. And one final thing would be our commitment to focus on empowering and educating our customers around financial literacy, as mentioned before. That's a key thing and really a commitment that we have in Collectius. And we hope to see other players in the industry follow the same as well here in the region.
Okay. Well, Sarah, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
A very insightful session. And for all of those of you watching, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more Rapyd Talks. Goodbye.